You probably imagine medieval history as a world of castles, knights, and royal banquets. But hidden behind those grand halls were moments when fear changed the law itself. Today, we're stepping into one of the most unsettling chapters of Tudor England, a time when justice wasn't just about punishment, it was about sending a message to an entire kingdom. Picture London in the early 1500s. The air smells of smoke from wood fires, merchants shout in crowded markets, and news travels faster through rumours than through official letters. People gather in public squares not only to trade goods, but to witness the power of the crown. In this world, trust is everything. Trust in your ruler, your neighbours, and especially in the food placed on your table. Now imagine a crime that breaks that trust completely. Poisoning wasn't only seen as murder, it was considered a betrayal of the natural order. To the people of that era, it felt invisible and unpredictable, a danger that could hide in the simplest daily routine. And for a king who already feared betrayal, this idea was terrifying. King Henry VIII ruled with confidence, but also with deep suspicion. His court was filled with shifting alliances, political tensions, and whispers of conspiracy. Historians often describe him as a leader who believed strong laws could prevent chaos. When a poisoning case shocked his court, the king didn't just react, he transformed fear into legislation. A new act was passed through Parliament, and suddenly the punishment for poisoning stood apart from all others. It wasn't simply a legal change, it was a symbol meant to warn the entire nation. Public executions became more than justice. They became stories that travelled from village to village, shaping how people understood power. Imagine standing in a crowd at Smithfield Market, one of London's most famous gathering places. Vendors pause their trade, families whisper to each other, and the usual excitement feels different today. Instead of cheers or laughter, there is a strange silence. People aren't sure what they're about to see, only that it will be remembered. What makes this moment unique isn't just the law itself, but the emotions surrounding it. Some spectators believed harsh punishment would keep society safe. Others quietly questioned whether fear was taking control of justice. The crowd became a mirror of the kingdom's divided feelings. But to understand why poisoning triggered such an extreme response, we need to look deeper into medieval culture. In a warrior society, conflict was often viewed as honourable when faced directly. Hidden methods of harm felt unnatural, almost mysterious, and were sometimes linked to foreign influence or superstition. This cultural belief shaped how crimes were judged, turning certain acts into symbols of dishonour. As years passed, more cases appeared, and the punishment became part of public memory. Chroniclers wrote about the uneasy atmosphere surrounding these events, not the excitement seen at other executions, but a heavy quiet that suggested people were unsure where the line between justice and cruelty truly lay. At the midpoint of this story, something interesting happens. Instead of growing more confident in harsh laws, the kingdom slowly begins to question them. Scholars, clergy, and even ordinary citizens start discussing whether fear should define punishment. These conversations didn't always happen openly, but they existed in letters, sermons, and whispered debates. Meanwhile, Henry VIII himself changed over time. Injuries, political struggles, and personal losses shaped his mindset. Many historians argue that his later years were marked by increasing paranoia. The laws he supported reflected not only the crimes of his subjects, but also his own inner fears about control and loyalty. And then, the turning point arrives. When Henry's reign ends, a new generation of leadership begins to rethink the legal system. Younger advisors and reformers push for a more measured approach, arguing that justice should protect order without losing compassion. One of the first major decisions of the new era is to repeal the extreme punishment connected to poisoning. The change is swift, almost symbolic. It signals that even in a harsh period of history, societies could step back and recognize when they had gone too far. Laws that once seemed permanent fade away, replaced by systems that aim for balance rather than intimidation. Today, if you walk through the historic areas of London, you might pass the same streets where crowds once gathered. Tourists take photos, street musicians play melodies, and markets sell fresh food where fear once dominated the atmosphere. The transformation reminds us that history is not only about darkness, it's also about growth. So why does this story still matter? Because it shows how easily fear can shape decisions at the highest levels of power. When leaders believe danger is everywhere, laws can become harsher than the people themselves expect. Yet history also proves that change is possible when new voices challenge old ideas. Think about it for a moment. The people who lived during that time probably believed their world would never change. They couldn't imagine that centuries later, their struggles would become lessons for future generations. And yet, here we are, looking back not with judgment, but with curiosity. This isn't just a tale about one punishment or one king. It's a reminder that justice evolves alongside society. What seems acceptable in one era may feel unthinkable in another. The true power of history lies in understanding these shifts, seeing how humanity learns, adapts, and moves forward. As the sun sets over modern London, the echoes of the past fade into the background noise of the city. The markets remain, the crowds return, but the laws are different now. And maybe that is the most important part of this story. The realization that civilization isn't defined by its darkest moments, but by its ability to change after them. Because in the end, history is less about punishment and more about perspective. It asks us to question how fear influences decisions, how leaders shape societies, and how ordinary people respond when justice feels uncertain. And the next time you hear about a law created during a time of panic, remember Tudor England. Remember how quickly fear can rewrite the rules and how, eventually, humanity finds a way to rewrite them again.